In Shaka Tank, we gather entrepreneur stories, how they started, what they've learned, their faithful journey, and the lifelong principles that they carry. War scars, war stories. We've been through it all. Welcome back to the Shaka Tank. Today's special episode, we're rocking it. And we're talking about transitions, right, Danny?
Yeah, man. So
We're talking about something, whatever.
Transitions, man, in life.
Well, like we've been wanting to do this for a bit. So, we've been shooting a bunch of episodes with different entrepreneurs. And over the course of the last 8 episodes or so, we obviously have our own, some of the topics we want to talk about, right? So we've been able to get entrepreneur stories and their war scars and their stories and stuff like that. But we also have our own entrepreneurs in the tank ourselves, right? So Pono, Chad, myself, we also got Mike, that's not with us right now. But one of the topics we want to talk about is transition, right? So, we've talked in some past episodes about persevering through different situations and going through different seasons, and also one of them was about starting off as a caterpillar and turning into a butterfly, and seeing how you can persevere through your situations, and it kind of creates a transition into whatever you're going to be next. As Chad is literally sitting here right now eating his meal, right? You're in a transition too. You're in a transition, right, Chad? I think you could speak a little bit on how you've gone from college ball, being a star at UH, then transitioning into NFL, being with the Jacksonville Jaguars, right? And then transitioning into the CFL, and now transitioning into a Hall of Fame player, transitioning now into competitive bodybuilding and reinventing. Could you maybe share, as you're eating, because one thing I appreciate about Chad too, he's one of the most dedicated human beings I've ever met in my life. He will
Disciplined, one of the most disciplined.
Right. It's when the clock hits, he's got to eat, right? And part of the ability to transition is committing to what you're about to go into, right? And sticking to this plan that you're in as well. But could you kind of just share a little bit about what you're going through and the transitions that you've been experiencing, brother?
Yeah. Well, first of all, man, it's great to be back on the Shaka Tank. I love, when we have guests and hearing their perspective, hearing their stories. Man, I learned so much from everybody, and there's always something new, right? And I think the common theme, though, is transition. A lot of people talking about their worst stories, worst scars. Those are transitional, pivotal moments in people's lives that, they need to make these decisions, whether to jump off the cliff and try to build that plane while on the way down. You need to have the belief in yourself to be able to even take that leap of faith to jump off. And, transition is scary for the most part, most of the time.
Yeah.
But for me, transitioning, and I'm an athlete, right? Former pro football player. So a lot of transition happens over the course of that journey, that career. But I feel like through sports, have been prepped for transition, because a lot of times in life, transition for people, work, whatever, that it's kind of all of a sudden.
Sure.
A lot of times it's unexpected. And in sports, especially the game of football, that's all you deal with, is unexpected events over the course of a game, over the course of a season, over the course of an off season, like injuries and drop passes. And, bro, I can go on and on and on about all the different things that happen over the course of a game, a season, a career. And most of it is unexpected, right? You have this vision, this expectation of success and winning a championship, the common goal. But you got your scheduled days for practice, meetings, but you can't prepare for all the in-between unexpected transitions that happen. Yeah. You just have to go through it. Mm-hmm. And so, I talked about this before, about going through adversity and how you can get to the point where you're comfortable in chaos. I think that's just something that happens over the course of time. So for me, all my transitions have been, something that I looked forward to. It's like, hey, from high school going to college, like no one gave me a shot. No one thought I could do it. So I was like, all right, I'm walking on to University of Hawaii. I'm excited for this transition because I get to prove myself. You have a whole college career where it's like, okay, you're doing it now. You're the guy. You earn a scholarship. Oh, but then there's an injury. And you come back from the injury. And you do that, you know. And then at the end of it, it's like, man, I think you're going to be in the NFL. I think you're going to have a shot. I'm excited for that opportunity. Let's transition. Let's go do it. It doesn't work out the way I envisioned. Drop punts, getting cut, put on practice roster, brought back. All the mental games that you go through, the challenges, you know, it's building that armor of resilience. And it sucks to be in at the time, at the moment. It does. Like, it sucked. It was hard mentally because you just feel like all your dreams, everything you've worked for comes crashing down and it's all for nothing. But it's not, right, Daniel? You talked about like the experience, you learn from that. You know, and you may not realize it at the moment. No one ever does. But later in life, you look back and you realize that, man, that made me stronger for this next phase, for the next transition, where for me it was going into, you know, the Arena Football League, where I just wanted to play football. And I was back playing, balling, having fun, clear of mind. I tear my ACL, right? Another, like, down, transition. The Atlanta Falcons the next day told me that they had a contract offer for me. Well, that's not going to happen now, right? But that sparked motivation to say, hey, I was right there to be right back to where I was, where I wanted to be. So that sparked the motivation to work hard to get back from my ACL, rehab. Shout out to Hop Sports Medicine for that. You know, it got me back. Did all that, came back. There was no NFL opportunity. So where do I go? I'm transitioning up north to Canada, where I knew nothing about. I was preparing for whatever it was next, okay? Just a quick little story, Daniel. I was in Florida preparing, training for I didn't know what was next. I just know I needed to train. I needed to be ready for when the opportunity did come. So a gentleman by the name of Steve DeLuca, he owned this, like, huge acreage farmland of just land, and he had a football field and a little gym, and he had a trainer. Like, that's where it was. That's where my agent put me because I was in Florida at the time, in Jacksonville. So I flew there doing this stuff, right? And then he goes, "Hey Chad, you ever thought about Canada, the CFL?" I said, "What's that?" You know, you got to think, right? I grew up in Hawaii. All I know is NFL as far as pro. That's it. That's all I know. That's all I wanted to do. I said, well, what is that? Where? Oh, it's up north in Canada. And I'm thinking, Canada, man, I'm thinking, is that like cold year round? Like, you know, my ignorance, right? It sounds cold the whole time. No, man, it's, you know, they got a summer, they're good. They play from May through November. I said, do they pay? I said, yeah. I said, I'm in. What? So he finds out that Montreal has my rights, meaning I was on their negotiations list. So if I wanted to go to Canada and play in the CFL, I had to go to Montreal. Wow. So I got a contract situated because of that deal. I ended up going to Montreal. 2009 transition. All right, let's go. I'm excited for this transition. About to play football again. And they end up winning. I was on a practice roster just to kind of get my feet wet, give my knee a chance to kind of get back to football. They end up winning the Grey Cup that year. So I was on the best team in Canada.
That's crazy.
You know what I mean? Learning the game, watching these guys. And, you know, I got a chance to see it. I got a ring from it. And in 2010, I end up getting traded because after training camp, where I had probably one of the best off seasons I've ever had going into that season, I wasn't going to play. The GM pulls me in. It's like, Chad, like we're obviously they're stacked. They're a championship team, but I felt like I was right there, and this is my time. I need to be playing. So I made a decision. I bet on myself. I went into the GM's office and I said, "All right, look, I'm not going to play, no starting role. All right, then you need to release me because I know I can be playing somewhere else. He said, oh, no, I'm not going to release you. But he put me in the trade block, thinking that no one would trade for me, then I'd eventually get released. Anyway, Toronto Argonauts traded for me. Wow. And the rest is history. I go to Toronto for week 1 after training camp, literally get there, practice that week, play that week. I take my first punt return back 90 yards in that game, first game against Calgary. Wow. And the rest is history. Right now we're talking about Hall of Fame, so we talk about transition, Daniel. We talk about all these things that life can throw at you. You can either get excited about transitioning, right? Because that's a positive mindset. Right. Or you could be dwelling about it. You could be like, oh man, I don't want to do this. Because I'm comfortable here, or whatever the situation may be. Yeah. It's about having that outlook on, I know the grass isn't always greener, but you never know what's going to happen with these opportunities. So trying will never hurt, right? Because there's always another mountain to climb. We talked about that before. Right. There's always the right mountain for you that you eventually get to the top and see everything that you've dreamed of seeing. So that's kind of where things are at right now. And you talked about bodybuilding. That's just my next thing that's keeping me competitive. I actually have a show next week, hence why I'm on par. I'm on my thing, eating when I'm supposed to eat, trying to get this IFBB Pro card. So here we are with another transition that I'm excited about. And, yeah, brother.
Yeah, man.
I know there's a lot there, but, transition can be exciting and should be.
So, on previous Shaka Tank episodes, Pono, a lot of time I'm giving my thoughts and I'm interviewing a lot of the guests, right? I kind of wanted to switch it up on this one and, highlight Pono a little bit too, right? So, what I might do is I might step down a little bit and let you guys kind of talk back and forth. And I'd love to kind of just be more of a listener on this one. But check this out. Chad, before you eat more of this week, can we do this on this episode? So your body's going through a transition right now, right? And just hey, don't hate me for doing this. I'm curious. Hey, sometimes, your body's your best resume of where you're at right now. Hey, can we just give us?
Are you gonna ask him to take off his shirt?
Hey, can we just come on, you're gonna have to do it soon, Chad. Hey, just to show the listeners. Hey, can we see where we're at? Come on, let's do it. Let's see it. Hey, this is a different version of the podcast, brother.
You gotta focus.
There we go. Let's see. Hey, what are we looking at right now?
He's eating. He's eating.
Here, we can see it. Yeah. Here we go.
You trying to catch me on the?
I know. I was saying before. Hey. Oh snap!
It's got really odd.
Hey, no, hey, Chad, we gotta get the whole thing off, brother. Come on, you gotta take the whole shirt off, brother. Let's see the cuts. Let's see the cuts.
First of all, bro, shout out to Cuts. Shout out to Coach Cuts. That's my coach. You know what I'm saying? You're getting me right.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, my man just really. What kind of podcast is this?
Yo, hey, this is the one where we keeping it with. Hey, okay. Hey,
there you go. Hey,
So hey, Chad, real quick, because Pono was joking. He's like, hey, Chad's.
Hey, that's hard to do.
Hey, so real quick, what are we looking at here? So, Chad, just real quick. What did it take to get you?
Shoulders for shoulder.
Yeah. Hey, can we move the food real quick in the bottle? I want to get as much of the. Okay, there we go. Okay, hold on. Chad. No, right there. We're good right there. Hey, Chad.
We're in the studio. He has to keep his pants on, right?
How long?
Chad, can you take off your shorts?
Yo, Chad. How long did it take to get you from where you were at to right now? Because, dude, you're jacked and cut right now, brother. How did it get you here?
Man, we started cutting. Can I put my shirt back on?
Yeah. One more. Wait. Hey, what's your main? What's the main? Okay, Pono, you're next.
You get a bigger camera lens. It doesn't fit.
Pono, you're next. Pono's next.
Hey, you first. You call him up.
All right. Yeah, Chad, we're good. Hey, I love it.
Now, bro got in a full sweat. I already sweat when he Daniel's got me in here posing. Got the hot lights in here.
That's what happens in the Shaka Tank, baby. So look, So the curious, and after this question, Pono, like honestly, like a couple things, because you guys could just roll into it, and I'm gonna just go quiet real quick. But Pono, like it'd be cool to hear about your.
How was that? We good?
Yeah. Hey, so would love to know, Chad, real quick, like, or how you got from like what you were looking at before, and obviously your body is your resume right now. Like you're obviously going through transition physically. Would love to hear about that. But then also, Pono, after that. I'd love to hear about your transitions also, right? Like where you were doing 5 years ago, how COVID was.
Yeah, Pono got to take his shirt off.
Yeah. Hey, but guys, again.
I have a kid now, so I gained like 20 pounds. There you go.
But we'd love to kind of dig into that, Pono, about like having family and all that, and just letting the listeners and the the viewers learn more about you. But hey, I'm gonna go a little quiet right now, let you guys kind of do your thing. But yeah, like Chad, you could talk on that, and Pono like kind of roll right into that. That'd be awesome.
All right, brother. Well, appreciate it, man.
Thanks,
well, it's a process, man. It's bodybuilding is something that I learned. It takes it takes discipline to be an athlete. Period.
for sure.
Right, to be a pro as long as I did, to get to the point where you even give yourself a chance to be a pro. It starts in high school. It starts in college. It starts back. Building those foundational habits of work ethic consistently. Can you do it that good every day? Can you do it better?
Yeah.
Or at least try to do it better. Right. So it's about consistency every single day. So once you develop that discipline, you give yourself a chance. And so I had that as a football player, right? So transitioning to the sport of bodybuilding, I just had to learn. It's a new game. I had to learn the different plays.
Yeah. New game map, a game plan. It looks different. And
yeah, but the biggest thing is how I work out. Football is a lot of explosive. You're building power, but you're building power and strength to be able to use on a football field.
Right.
To be able to explode through tackles, to be able to explode out of a cut, to be able to stop on a dime. So it's different. The training system is different. Bodybuilding, you're just trying to build muscle tissue, and for competitive bodybuilding is what I'm doing. Right. It's all in preparation for one day, for 15 seconds. That's my routine. My routine is like, my individual routine is about 15 seconds tops, and then you got comparisons. Like you'll be up there for a minute, maybe a couple. It's not that long.
That's crazy
compared to a 60-minute football game, right? So
you do tons of prep.
Tons of prep.
And like almost a whole football season, 16 weeks, right? Like a preps and 12 weeks, really.
16-week cut. But you got to think, I've been bulking since January.
That's great. That's longer than the football season.
Yeah. So, and in football, you play this week, and guess what? You get to make some corrections and play the next week, right? In bodybuilding, guys do that when they're chasing Olympia qualifications. Gotcha. Guys start running like hard, like one week later, maybe 2 weeks later, the shows. And when you're in that phase of like depletion, it's tough to hold that, right? So these are all the things that I've learned. For the last 4 years, I've only done one show. So I gave myself a nice long off season, but it's a blessing and a curse because it's a long off season before I get to play a game,
right,
before I get to compete, right? Football, you have off-season training, then you have training camp, then you're like games, right? 16, 17, 18, 19 plus games that you're playing on a weekly basis. That's right. You can get your reps in. Yeah, this is different. So from a mental standpoint, to me, it takes even more discipline knowing that you basically got one game, one shot, minutes. Right? Minutes.
True, yeah.
So, yeah, man, I mean, the training is different. How we lift, cardio. I don't run anymore. I can't sprint. I can't do any of that just because the goal is to keep and hold on to as much muscle as possible.
Gotcha.
While only dropping body fat.
So how do you do your cardio?
So my cardio is a steady state, like stair climber, incline walks on the treadmill. I'll do the bike sometimes too. Bike is good for me. or just outdoor just walks, like just getting it in, getting your steps in, right? And yeah, and then obviously food, like 6 meals a day.
So that's how you shred. Like when you're cutting, you're like doing like very basic. Because I think people think cardio, they got to go for a 2-3 mile run.
Yeah, no. So cardio, like to get the like, bro, abs. This it's literally made in the kitchen. So you go through a bulk phase of where you, and this is something that I think the listeners, if you guys look, first of all, I offer online coaching. So if you need help with getting on a diet, hit me up. But here's the key: people think eating less food is better. It's actually worse.
Really?
Because your body knows that it's going to only get through. This is say some people eat 2 meals, so whatever it is, just say 2 or 3 meals. Your body knows that that's all it's getting. Guess what it's going to do? Slow down your metabolism. Hold on to as much body fat as possible, because your body fat is like the reserve when you're in starvation. Like it's gonna, right? So I mean, people do fasting, like the whole, which is cool, but I don't think that's like
like you should do that.
Not forever, but like if you want to just have a solid balance, something that's I think good, that's sustainable. You want to eat at least 5 meals a day, and here's why. Because when you eat 5 meals a day, what we're trying to do is get your body's metabolism to spike, to speed up. Okay, I got to break down this food, right? Because I know I'm getting this next meal. 3 hours later, I'm going to get fed again. So I need to break this down. Pop, 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 pop. So by eating more frequently, your metabolism goes up. That helps burn body fat. So now when you combine that with good workouts and steady state cardios, either fasted in the morning, meaning on an empty stomach, or right after you're done training, your workout, because you use all the glycogen for your workout, whatever you have, right? Then after you're done, you have nothing in, you go right to your cardio. Now all you're doing is burning through that fat reserve. So that's how you drop body fat. So right there is some keys that's right there, guys.
That's free tips right there.
That's free tips right there. So look, 6 meals a day, consistency, weighing everything out. It's all the same.
Counting your macros.
Counting it, bro. It has to be that way. My coach, because again, we're preparing for 1 day on stage, minutes. That's it. So we need to lock in onto the right amount of carbs, right? And that's kind of what the deal is. Off season, we're gonna start getting the metabolism go. You're used to eating 6 meals, and we're gonna start increasing the food. Protein stays the same, carbs go up. As we're cutting, carbs come down. Protein amount always stays the same, because you need protein to hold on to muscle. So carbs fluctuate, and now we're in that phase of like, he's basically got it, what we're going to do. And today's officially peak week, meaning 1 week out, right? From today. My show is next week, Wednesday. So, it's, that's the science behind it, fine tuning. My water went up 4 weeks out to 2 gallons a day. And then imagine drinking 2 gallons of water, and then at the end, kind of pulling that back, and then you introduce carbs. That's what gives you that tight, full effect, that crazy look on stage. But again, that's only for that day. That's not something that's sustainable. You don't want to be like that, trying to maintain that look forever. It's not going to happen, because it's unhealthy, to be honest with you, that stage look. So that's all of it in a nutshell, man. This bodybuilding thing has been cool. It just gives me some, like, my routine, because I've been so used to having routine my whole career, and that's what I love about it.
Wow. What's the difference, like, because you have to have a mindset shift from, okay, I'm going to train like an athlete, so now I'm still an athlete, but in a different sport. But like a lot of people, I feel like they don't make that connection at first, like to be disciplined in, like, I got to show up every single week, show up every single day. For you now, doing your bodybuilding competition, like, what's that? Like, when did that mindset kind of click for you? Like, did you always want to do bodybuilding? Did you always want to do football? Or was it like, you know what? Like, I'm gonna be disciplined. I'm gonna be different from everyone else, because this is my trajectory. This is the goals I want to hit. You know what I mean? What was that for you?
Great question. I mean, I think, again, for me, it started as a young athlete, right? A young competitor, knowing that that I was at a disadvantage. I was undersized. I was labeled as small, too small. So I was already trying to find ways to level my playing field, to gain advantages, right? Or eventually try to surpass these guys that they're saying is better because they're bigger or whatever.
Yeah.
So I had this mindset of, man, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to win, to give myself an advantage. And so mindset is something that you develop. You know, some people develop it later, some people develop it earlier. It's a key thing to make sure you develop that. But as far as like knowing, man, I've always known that I wanted to be a pro athlete. So that alone sparked the motivation to do the things that people weren't wanting to do.
Yeah.
Because it is a lot of things that most probably don't want to do. But you have to be willing to do those things in order to get your edge, to get ahead. Right. And did I always see myself as a bodybuilder? No, but I always liked the way the muscles looked. I loved that, superhero, like jacked, so that's kind of, I've always been intrigued by that. And so I think it was a natural transition just because I love training, I love working out, and I love to compete. So it's like, all right, let's go after it. Because now with the competition, that sparked the motivation to be in the gym with purpose again. Because my purpose was football before. Right. Now there's a purpose still for me to go after the gym every single day, hard, every rep, making it count, eating the foods that I need to be eating, right? So yeah, it's all based on having that goal and doing whatever you need to do to accomplish it.
That's crazy. Because I bet you're much more strict now than you were when you're, in the CFL and everything. Right?
Bro, you talking about diet-wise?
Yeah. But diet, even exercise.
Well, I'm just going to say diet is probably the thing that I'm more strict about than anything. When I played, I ate fairly good, but as a football player, you kind of need a little bit of body fat. You can't be so down. You can't be so muscular and like stiff either. Right. You got to be fluid. You got to be able to move. So little difference there, but the diet is the biggest change, bro. That's the thing that to me is the biggest difference, and it shows.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, obviously shows. Praise God, Danny. Yeah, take off your shirt.
Freaking Danny, bro.
No, I love Daniel, but no, that's crazy. And I think like even just like talking about life and transitioning, like, I mean, because you've accomplished it all. I mean, not a lot of people can say that they're in the Hall of Fame, and yet there's still more for you to get at. You know what I mean? There's still more, and like, I think I appreciate that drive that you have, because I mean, guys like us who, I'm very, very far from any type of Hall of Fame. You know what I'm saying? But I think like there's just a drive to keep going. Like even though I've reached the pinnacle and like the top of it, there's still more to get after. And I think for a lot of people, I think they said, like, I heard the statistic the other day that after 30 years old, 95% of people will never sprint. Like, ever. Like, after 30, like, 95%, they don't sprint anymore. And I think, like, I texted my wife, I was like, I think I have to play basketball more, because ain't no way that's going to be me, you know what I mean? But I think just, like, once you start to growing as we're getting older, people just like stop caring about those types of things and the disciplines and especially the physical type of disciplines. And there's just a deterioration of like your muscle, deterioration of your drive and your vision and your goals. But someone for you who's like, you know what, I reached the top, but there's still another peak to hit. You know what I mean? So, I mean, maybe for you, like, how would you encourage guys like us who maybe we haven't got there to that first peak yet, but you're already on your second peak? How would you encourage us to keep looking forward and like, hey, like it's not done yet. There's still more mountains for you to conquer.
Yeah, I mean, great question, bro. I mean, I think, well, number one, I hope that I can be an inspiration to people, right? As a visual, especially someone in Hawaii, like someone that's real, that we know we can relate to, that, hey, he's done it multiple times. He keeps doing new things. He conquers this. He's trying to conquer that. He keeps going, right? So I think that would be what I would tell them, say, hey, like, look at me as an example. If I can do it, you can do it. But it takes, like the things we talked about already, it takes an extreme discipline, a mindset of relentlessness. I'll use that word. Yeah. You got to be relentless in your pursuit of that goal. And when you're relentless, truly relentless, you're gonna outwork everybody. You're gonna be disciplined. You're gonna be consistent, because there's really nothing else matters. That's being truly relentless. It's like when nothing else matters but getting this and achieving this goal. You kind of have to treat it that way. In a way, I mean, Michael Jordan said it, like, you got to be selfish, because you're not going to reach the level of success, or you're maximizing your full potential and getting there without being selfish. Now, you can still be selfless when those opportunities come, but you have to be selfish in your desires, in your work ethic, in the things you're willing to sacrifice.
That's good. Yeah.
You need that to achieve. So, and I think a lot of times people tend to look at like the big picture. Like, say someone that's in high school or right now, I want to be in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great goal to have. But if you look at it as like this, and you put it as like, it's so big, it could cause pressure. Yeah. Pressure makes diamonds, yes,
True. Yeah.
but it could cause unnecessary pressures that you don't need. And I think the goal here is to focus on just getting better every day.
Good.
So if you focus on getting better every day, piling up the small wins, that compounding, you eventually be here, right? And guess what? You still got to get to college first. So, just as long as you can get to college, right? Work hard, do all the things that I'm talking about doing, get better every single day, do the things that everyone else isn't willing to do, right? Do the extra. Don't just do what everyone is doing.
Right.
Do extra. It doesn't always have to be physical either. It can be mental preparation, your food, everything in your control to give yourself the best chance to be the best player on that day, every single day. And then you duplicate it every single day. Boom, 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 boom. Eventually, 3, 4, 5 years, if you redshirt, go by, and now you're sitting here with an opportunity to really one step away from having a chance to live out your childhood dream of playing the NFL or the CFL for that matter. So I think the goal setting needs to be very strategic. You need to plan your goal setting. You need to, have the long-term goal, but you need to reverse engineer and make sure you check off all of these boxes along the way and stack up these wins along the way. And that goes for entrepreneurship too. In business, like, you have to have that mindset that it's going to take a consistent effort of building and getting better every single day. And hey, some people, man, let's just be honest. We need good fortune sometimes too. Like, you need a little bit of luck on your side, and some people don't get that luck. So it just takes a little bit longer, but you got to have some patience and you got to have the resilience, right? You have the relentlessness I'm talking about, but you got to be resilient because it might take longer, but you just keep going.
Yeah.
Keep going. And eventually, you get to a point where whether you accomplish that goal or not, you have to realize that you still have won.
Yeah.
I think that's what people have a hard time with, that is understanding that they've still won, because look at all of what you've done.
Yep. True.
Just because you fell a little short of that goal doesn't mean that you're a failure, doesn't mean that you've lost. It just means that you got to come back down that mountain and take everything you've learned and apply it to the next one, and then go and accomplish that thing.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that's where it starts, and it's all mindset. Right.
Yeah. And I think like what I'm hearing you say is, like, in order to accomplish like the big thing and like to hit those mountains, those peaks, you're gonna have to go through the hard things, right? Essentially, like, you're gonna have to
overcome. You have to overcome those hard things.
Yeah, overcoming adversity and everything. That's your whole story. I think like that's really hard and difficult for especially young people, young entrepreneurs. Like, I think sometimes we'll see, especially like, growing up playing football or basketball, whatever, like, you're always compared to the guys with genetics. You know what I mean? Like, oh man, this kid's taller and he's gonna get more looks, he can get more opportunities.
Preaching to the choir.
Exactly. You know what I mean? I think like even in entrepreneur and business could be the same thing too. Like, oh man, like that guy started out when he was young, or he had the right opportunity, or he had angel investors, his BCs, pour into the company, or like my favorite one is like, oh man, his dad was an entrepreneur, and so like naturally he's going to be an entrepreneur too. So he already has a leg up. And for the rest of us who are like, a first generation entrepreneur, or my parents, they grew up renting their entire lives, so I'm in Jesus' name going to be the first person on my family to purchase their home. You know what I mean? And so like, I think going through all this and looking at everyone else and looking at my peers and looking at the landscape, I think it's so easy for us to be like, I want to give up when it gets hard, just because like I'm never going to be that. Like they had, like we talked about earlier, giving excuses, like, oh, they had this and this person, like gave them, or this person blessed them, or God, gave them this thing. Here's me, I'm working hard, I'm doing my thing, but you know what? I'm just going to give up. But what you're saying is, no, like you're going to have to stack up the little wins. Like, where did God bless you? Where did you win at? Where did you, make a little bit of money? Where did you leverage? Where did you help people? And from there, you're going to start to look at, okay, you know what? Is this a mountain I want to keep climbing, or am I going to take these experiences and do something else and climb the next peak or whatever, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it is easy to compare, to look at others' success and how they got there. And again, I mentioned good fortune, right? I mentioned, some people, they get the easier road just because it's, it was in their luck, it was in their favor. That was going to be their path, their destiny. That's their life. Right. For you and those that don't get that, you can't look at that as oh man, they were lucky. Yeah, they were a little lucky. Let's be honest, they were lucky to have had that resource or that help or that support, or that, like, man, they didn't have to go through all of this, what I'm trying to go through. They skipped that. They got to go right there. But what they're missing, that from what you're getting, is key. This right here, that's longevity, long term. People who get fast success or a quicker route to success don't truly understand and can appreciate that, because they didn't have to go through all of this. So they may be here, and they may sustain that. They may be there for the rest of their life, which is, hey, great, more power to you. But they'll never fully have the appreciation for it the way you will when you get there.
Yeah.
Right? Because you had to earn it every single day, all the different hard ways. Right? And that's me. Like, I wasn't given anything. I didn't come from money. I didn't come from anything. You know what I mean? I didn't have no pro athlete in my family. I didn't have like the resources that the kids have today to get better. Yeah. It's so different. But again, we talk about today's generation versus our generation. It's like, it's the instant gratification. They want that. They want that pass. They want to skip the line. They want to just go right to the enjoyment. They don't want to go through this hassle. But they're missing the fact that the hassle, the struggle, that's key, because when they're here, right, it's good, but what's going to happen when they hit something, when it hits the fan or something? They're not going to know what to do. Right. They are not going to know what to do. Yeah. And that's where they could fall big time, right? But what people, the majority, yourself, what you're building here is the armor of resilience, the appreciation of hard work. You're building all of these things so that when you get there, like I said, you would have earned it the right way. And now you have all of these lessons that you're going to get paid forward and kind of pass on to your kids, the next generation. What is this? What is this person doing? I took over inheritance. I took over my dad's business, or I was given this. Can you tell me? It's like, what are they going to share? Can you tell me how you achieved that? They're not going to be like, "Wow, man, I worked this, and that." No, I was given this. I was blessed. Now, if they have, and they may have that mindset, man, I was blessed. I I didn't earn this. There's people out there work hard, man. They go through the mud to get this. I was given this. So, what I've decided to do because I was blessed, I'm going to bless others, So those are good people, right? And you have those out there. Definitely. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's easy to compare, but don't judge, right? So let's look at the comparisons, just look at what, and just be motivated by it. It's like, hey, I'm going to get there. It may be a different way, but I'm going to get there, I think that's important.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I like what you said too about the reference to earlier conversation. Like, I think what we're doing here, going through the hard stuff, is we're building healthy habits. You know what I mean? We're building like a knee-jerk reaction when stuff hits the fan or when things don't go our way. And I think that's what this up-and-coming generation of leaders and entrepreneurs, I think that's a little bit what they're missing. They're missing the stick-to-itiveness,
the roots, right? For sustainability.
100%. And like football, and it is a lot like entrepreneurialism, where it's like it's a knee-jerk reaction. It's a twitch effect. You know what I mean? It's like it's highly reactive. In football, like you said, it's very like I'm gonna get the ball, and a million different scenarios could play out. Same with business. Start this new contract, or I show up to a shoot, or I show up to a new client. It could go a million different ways, but how I react is going to be different. And back to what you're saying about like people who who just they're giving it. I think they forget their why. They don't have a why. They don't understand what the business it took to get to where it's at. And when they're given this opportunity as a business, some of them will, like be deer in the headlights because they don't know what happened. Same thing, like you could catch a punt and, the lights are blinding. And if you don't know, if you haven't gone through the reps, and if you are not familiar with how you're going to react in certain situations, you might just stand there or you might muff it, know. And I think that's what happens a lot.
That was me. I literally lived that. Yeah. Like I talk about it as a rookie. I never played in the Dome before. Never had that experience. I never had pressures of coaches like watching and like waiting for me to mess up. Like never had that before. Yeah. So it all hit me at one point in Indianapolis, my rookie year. Bro, ball was up there. It felt like forever. It was in the lights. I just was like, my thought process was like, oh my God, don't drop it. And I muff it. Yeah. Because like I wasn't strong enough here. Regardless of all my success I had in college, the thing that I didn't have to do was think. I didn't have to think, never had to think. Yeah. I talked about confidence as well, right?
Right.
Leadership, building you up. Now, I had built the confidence on my own because I put in the work, but then I had created confidence in my teammates, my coaches. They all believed in me. They just knew it was about to happen, what I was going to do. Yeah. In the NFL, the leadership there, I didn't feel like they were instilling confidence in me. I think they were questioning me.
Yeah.
They were waiting for a mess up. They wanted me. It's like they wanted me to mess up. It was a different feeling. And ultimately, they got what they wanted. And it sucks because no one ever wants to have to go through that. But that made me realize what professional sports is, a business.
Yeah, true.
It's a business. And they treated it like that. They treated me like that. And so through that, that's how I treated it. After that, I learned. It's okay. All right, I got you.
Yeah.
This is business. I'm going to handle my business. And I'm going to do what I do. And that's it. So I took it all and got better from it. But, bro, it's when you have that deer in the headlight and your mind is off, things are off, the rate of success goes down.
So what increases your chances of success? Like now you're back in that same situation. So what would you have done different? Or what did you wish you had at that moment, going into that?
Well, it's like, number one, I have the experience now. I've been through that, I lived it. Yep. So I know what the outcome of my life became. So it's like, if I could go back in time and go back to that moment again, I probably just wouldn't have any pressure on me because I know the outcome, right? So I'd be able to just focus on, maybe I just fair catching the first one, fair catching, just getting comfortable, Okay, boo. Okay, fair catch. I ain't gonna worry about nothing. Okay, get it. Just catch it. Nothing to worry about. Right. Build some confidence in that situation. The lights, the dome. Right, and then the next one, maybe if the opportunity presented itself, I would have time to catch it, secure it, and make a play. Yeah. So, experience is the greatest teacher. But you know, it all comes down to the coaching, like I said, the leadership, the things that they're telling you. But even at that, like if I don't know, it's kind of a weird situation, you know, like going back, like I know exactly what the outcome is, so I know what I'd have to do. So take that as like, okay, now you've been through this experience. Although it wasn't what you wanted, the next time it comes up, you'll be better from it. Or at least you should.
Right.
And you'll be a little bit better. So you just keep growing through each experience. Yeah. And eventually, your success rate, right, will start to go up.
True. Yeah.
And that's the goal, right? You want to be getting better as time goes on. You don't want to be getting worse.
Yeah. I think like when we're talking about opportunities, like I'd like that you mentioned like when the next opportunity comes. It's not like if it comes or, you know what I mean? Like you mess up and now you forever don't have another opportunity. I like that you're like more on the optimistic side. Like when the next one comes, you'll be better prepared.
Yep.
When the next opportunity comes, and I think that's hard for young people to grasp too. Like I need to show up 100% now, and I need to do the most now because I don't know when.
But that's that extra added pressure that I said that you can add to yourself, right? But if you kind of deflate that and sort of know that there's other opportunities, that I can create more opportunities, it decreases that stress and the pressure to have to perform. This is it. This is my one chance. It's not your one chance. It's just your next chance that's up. Yeah. That's the next opportunity, right? Don't make it the only opportunity you'll ever get. When you do that, it's hard not to crack under that type of pressure, you know?
True. And Tiger Woods says like his mindset, I was reading in this book, he gives himself, if he hits a bad shot or even a good shot, he gives himself 10 steps to get over it. So like, you know,
that's awesome.
Like after 10 steps, he's completely forgotten about whether it's a good shot or bad shot. Now he's just moving on to, okay, now I'm strategizing the next one. So it's kind of like that same mentality. Like, okay, I'm going to take this opportunity, whether it's good or bad, I'm going to make the most out of it. And then give myself 10 steps to let it process, feel bad about myself. And then now I'm moving forward to, okay, how I'm going to strategize and set up my next shot to be the best shot.
Yeah, I love that. We had a thing in college with Coach Jones. It was called one snap and clear. You drop a pass, hey, one snap and clear it. Because if you think about it, if you let it linger more than 10 steps, you're going to drop the next pass. You're going to drop the next pass. And now you're all messed up, right? You got to just let it go. And I think about it, right? Move on to the next one, make the catch. That's why the thing I love, the coaches I love, is that when a player drops a ball, the very next play, they go right back to him. Right back to him. Because those are coaches that understand that whole mentality and the mental game.
Get over this.
So that's good. That's really good, right?
It's also strategic too. If I'm playing defense, I don't think they're going to go back to the same guy who just dropped the pass.
Yeah, it could be.
No, that's good. I think to package all of this, and I think the entire podcast of you taking off your shirt and everything. Shout out to Danny who did not want to take off his shirt. Ooh. But I think like just goes to show like there's a progression. You know what I mean? Like you start somewhere. You know, doesn't matter the cards that you have. You start somewhere. We're all given cards. Doesn't matter about genetics or who's the tallest, who's the fastest. It's what you do with what you've been given. You know what I mean? And Pastor Mikey wrote this book, Pound for Pound Principle, and it's kind of like this whole based off of the parable of the talents. And the parable of talents is basically, these three people, these three servants. The master gave them three different amounts, and the first servant, he gave them 5 talents, which is like 5 bags of gold. And the second servant gave him 2. Last one, he gave him 1. And that 5, the master left. When the master came back, the 5 talent guy, the one he gave servant 5 talents, he said, Master, I made 10. And then the second one, he was like, Master, I took your 2 talents, and I made it 4. And then the last one said, Master, I'm so scared of you, I'm so afraid of what you were going to do and how you were going to react because you're a harsh master. I just buried your talent. And I did nothing with it. Here is your one talent back. And, like the whole moral of the story is like, doing the best you can with what you've been given. Whether you are given the 5 talents and you have the 6'5" height and like 230 athletic build and, all the offers from all the D1 schools or whatever, or you're the 2 talent, like you don't have any offers, you're working hard, but God's giving you motivation. He's giving you determination, and flipping that and be like, you know what? I don't have the 5, but I have the 4, doing the best you can with what you got. And I think that sums up your story. I think this sums up all of our entrepreneur journeys too. Like, we don't start off with a stupid amount of money. I mean, unless you have an AC, VC or angel investor, you're not going to come out the gates kicking with this product or this service that you're selling, making $1 million. Like, that almost doesn't happen out the gate. But you're starting slow, you're building, you're compounding, you're getting 1% better every single day, taking things seriously, doing the hard things, because if it was easy, everyone would be doing it. So you're doing the hard things, and then you look back, they're all the little wins, and now you're like, I'm on to my next peak and on to the next mountain. So it's super encouraging to hear, like, I mean, your story it's that story. Parable of the Talents, it is the hard work and the grit. But like you said, like you want your life to inspire. It's super inspiring to me and to all of us on the Shaka Tank and to many of us here in Hawaii. So thank you so much.
Yeah, man. No, I appreciate it. I mean, it is exactly that. And, Daniel and I, shout out to Daniel, we're making a book, right? We're trying to finalize a book. And the title of the book is obviously it's Chad Owens, right? A legend. Oh my God, I'm just drawing a blank right now. But the tagline is what's most important to me. And it's making turning adversity into an advantage.
First thing, advantage. I like that.
So now I gotta just get it for sure. Okay, sorry. So Hawaii's Underdog, right? By Chad Owens, and adversity basically becoming my advantage, or the cards you're dealt. Yeah. Everyone, if you're here and you're able, then you have an opportunity, right? To really do whatever you want to do, to accomplish whatever it is you want to accomplish. It all comes down to you as an individual of realizing, carving out exactly what you want, detailing that out, right? Creating the path by seeing others, right? Learning from others or your experiences or whatever. You got to have the path, you got to have the route, you got to have the game plan. You have to. And then just executing, on a daily basis, consistently, en route to accomplishing whatever it is you set out to do. So, this is awesome, man. It was kind of a lot, transitioning, shirt off, but that's just the body of work. Right? I'm not done yet. That's not even the final. It's not even the final product.
Can't wait.
We have a week left, and a lot changes in a week.
Really,
like a lot. So I'm excited about it. I'm excited to get back up to Toronto to be a part of this Hall of Fame class, 24, do my induction. I mean, that's going to be super special.
Yeah, I think when this podcast releases, I think you will be in Toronto, like you see me. So that's sweet.
That'll be sweet. Yeah. Well, right on, man.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Chad. Appreciate you.
Thank you guys for listening. Hope you guys got some from that.